This is a Sandy Boy Productions podcast.
Welcome to the Urban Pharmacy Podcast, where we help women remove the overwhelm of living their most holistic life. This is the place to find evidence-based nutrition tactics, healthy lifestyle and wellness tips, abundance mindset, and easily implementable low-tox living strategies so you can rise up to your full potential and protect your family's health. I'm your host, Stacey Heine, certified holistic nutritionist and better living advocate. Now, let's get empowered with some simple swaps that make a big impact for optimal wellness.
+105 ebooks and video courses focused on low-fat, plant-based weight loss for under 50 cents each. That's right, only available until March 2nd, 2022, and then it is gone forever. The Ultimate Weight Loss Bundle for only $49 has arrived. Lots of brand new content from plant-based experts and doctors. Well over 1,000 recipes so you'll always have ideas. $4,600 worth of content for only $49. Quick access to immediate downloads, find new people to learn from and follow. Again, this is only available until March 2nd at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I am so excited to let you know about the Ultimate Weight Loss Bundle. It has arrived and I am part of it. Today's guest is my beautiful friend, Chef AJ, who has been devoted to a plant-exclusive diet for over 43 years. She is the host of the television series Healthy Living with Chef AJ, which airs on Foody TV. A chef, culinary instructor, and professional speaker, she is the author of the popular book Unprocessed: How to Achieve Vibrant Health and Your Ideal Weight, which chronicles her journey from an obese junk food vegan faced with a diagnosis of pre-cancerous polyps to learning how to create foods that nourish and heal the body. Her latest best-selling books, The Secret to Ultimate Weight Loss, A Revolutionary Approach to Conquer Cravings, Overcome Food Addiction, and Lose Weight Without Going Hungry, and Own Your Health, have reached and received glowing endorsement by many luminaries in the plant-based movement. Chef AJ was the executive pastry chef at Sante Restaurant in Los Angeles, where she was famous for her sugar, oil, salt, and gluten-free desserts, which use the fruit, the whole fruit, and nothing but the fruit. She broadcasts Chef AJ live on YouTube and Facebook daily. She is the creator of the Ultimate Weight Loss Program, which has helped hundreds of people achieve the health and the body that they deserve, and is proud to say that her IQ is higher than her cholesterol. In 2018, she was inducted into the Vegetarian Hall of Fame. Okay, you are going to love episode 58 with Chef AJ. I cannot wait for you to hear her story and her insights, and I really cannot wait for you to get your hands on this Ultimate Weight Loss Bundle. This is the birth child of Chef AJ and Lissa from Raw Food Romance, who you're going to hear from very soon on the podcast as well. We have all united as a plant movement to help you achieve your ultimate weight and to feel better while you're doing it so that you can step into your ultimate impact, which I know I teach on every single day. So make sure that you click the link in the bio to shop for the $49 bundle. Again, this is $4,600 plus worth of value-packed information for only $49. This information can completely change your life. So enjoy this episode and I will see you soon. Be well. All right, Chef AJ, welcome to the Urban Pharmacy Podcast, my friend.
Thank you so much.
I am super thrilled and honored to have you in my presence. I'm kind of feeling like, if I had like Gregor McDougall on, like, I almost feel like I'm more nervous talking to you. So
don't be, I won't bite. And I find that if you get nervous, then you won't have as good of an experience, because when I've waited like 10 years to have somebody on my show, like Michael Moss, then I didn't even enjoy it because I was too nervous. So I'm very tame. I promise. I don't think I've ever had any controversy on any interview because I keep that all private.
Oh my gosh, you're so funny. Well, we're all human. That at the end of the day, that's the fact of the matter. But you're so funny and witty, and who knows where this conversation.
Because I was just thinking of something, because one time I did get upset, and it wasn't at a person. Well, it was at a person at my house, because the technology wasn't working, and I was actually yelling at somebody that wasn't my husband, and that got like on the thing, and I realized like that's not stuff you want to be. Even if you feel that, like, it's not a good idea to do in public.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, well, 'tis the entrepreneurship life, which we're going to talk about here in a minute, AJ. But really what I want to talk to you first about, and just kind of open this conversation up with, is I know you've been vegan for a long time. I've caught that from interviews, conversations that you've had. You've been vegan, over half of your life.
45 years, almost 45, just in a couple months. I know it's hard to believe, because I've been vegan longer than like a lot of people have been alive.
Oh my gosh. So yes, definitely. And so many, I feel like, the whole vegan wave really that was not a thing, like 45 years ago. And I can't wait to hear really how it all shifted. I know you had some health issues. I know that you were a comedian. Like, can you give us a little bit of your entire life up until now in a 5-minute time span?
Yeah, so I actually wrote a couple of books about that. But so my entire life is a human or as a vegan, because there's only 17 years that weren't vegan, so I could give you those first.
Let's start where it started at the vegan point, like, and why, like, how did that happen?
Yeah. So, I think I was born vegan, or born wanting to be vegan, but I didn't have that in my vocabulary in 1960, because I always had a lot of compassion for animals. And it never crossed my mind that we had some as pets and some as dinner until I was probably 27. I had already been vegan for 10 years when I actually heard that saying, if you love animals called pets, why do you eat animals called dinner? But I was always squeamish around like things like raw meat disgusted me. Fish, when it was served like at a restaurant, or, with the head and the eyes on, and you could see the bones. I thought animal parts were creepy. Ribs, being Jewish and being raised Orthodox, there were a lot of animals we didn't eat anyway. We didn't eat pork of any kind, so nothing from a pig. And we didn't eat like clams or crabs or oysters or lobsters. And the thing about those, I don't want to call them food animals, is like they look like them when you eat them. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so like I could eat a can of tuna because it didn't remind me of a fish. Or if my mom made chili and there was ground beef in it, I could eat it. But if it was rare, like the only way I could even eat meat growing up is if it was like burned beyond recognition. I would have to fight my grandfather for like the end piece, because I knew it was blood, and like I just felt like there was something creepy and wrong about this. But when you're little, especially, you don't question it so much. But I just know I didn't want to do it, and I didn't have a word for it, but I didn't want to eat it. And so my mom just made things that didn't look like it, things without the bone and things that were very well done. And the day that I left for college, when I was 17, September 1st, 1977, for the University of Pennsylvania, I knew I was kind of an adult then. I was only 17, actually. I skipped 4th grade, so I was a little younger than everybody, but I started working right away for a veterinarian because I was on scholarship. I wanted to be a veterinarian. That's why I went to Penn. And he handed me a tank of live salamanders, and he said to cut their heads off because he only needed their eyes for protein lens regeneration experiments in amphibians. And I did it once, and that I just couldn't do it. I remember being taken fishing when I was younger, and it was like, even that was just so cruel to me. And even putting the live, I I couldn't do it. And so I became an instant vegan, not knowing what that meant at the time, other than not eating animal products. And unfortunately, it's so funny, like you kids like you today that are born, with the internet, like we didn't have an internet back then. Like we didn't have Neil Barnard was alive, but there wasn't PCRM or ways to look things up. So all I did was take animal products out of my diet. I didn't put anything healthy into my diet, like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, those kind of things. And so therefore I got extremely heavy, obese, actually close to 200 pounds, but I wasn't really like unhealthy. I was just fat until the age of 43. It caught up with me. So 43 years of basically eating an unhealthy diet. Even though it was free from animals, I was having Coke Slurpees for breakfast. I was a food addict. I didn't know the word then, but I was really a sugar addict. Coke Slurpees for breakfast, Dr. Peppers for lunch. I wasn't eating fruits and vegetables, so I wasn't getting any fiber. So I really wasn't pooping. And I developed what they call pre-colon cancer. And that's when I changed my diet to a healthy one. And that's why, when people criticize me for how strict I am, they didn't live in my body and they didn't have the sicknesses that I had and they didn't have the experiences. And so, of course, I'm not going to tell, like a 12-year-old or a 17-year-old who's healthy, you got to eat like Chef AJ. Work with people that are much older for whom everything else has failed. And so a more strict form of the plant-based diet is what is necessary. Believe me, if I could, just eat Coke Slurpees and nachos and Cinnabon all day and not hurt animals and be healthy, I would. But unfortunately, it didn't work like that. And so I went to the Optimum Health Institute on July 6, 2003. I remember I took the plane down to San Diego in the cab. Before he dropped me off, I said, take me to 7-Eleven. And I had a Coke Slurpee and a Dr. Pepper really quickly, because they said that if they catch you with anything contraband, they'll kick you out and they don't give you your money back. And that was like the last time I had white sugar. And I learned at the Optimum Health Institute that our food makes a difference to how we look and feel, what diseases we ultimately get, and what we can reverse. And that even though I was not eating animal products for 26 years, I had a very acidic and inflammatory diet, caffeine, sugar, chocolate, flour, or, I wasn't eating food. I wasn't eating food like you see behind me, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes. And so I followed their diet, which happened to be raw. I don't think you have to be raw to heal. I think you have to be, unprocessed and animal free. But after about 6 months, I went back and had a repeat colonoscopy, and all my polyps that were bleeding were gone. And the doctor said, where did you have the surgery? And I'm like, I didn't have surgery. I changed my diet. He goes, well, that's impossible. So that's when I learned that what we eat has a profound effect. Like Hippocrates said, let food be thy medicine. And so that's when I got into the healthy aspect of veganism, whereas before it was really just about ethics. And actually it still is about ethics, because even if it were to, if somebody said, if you don't eat meat, you're going to die. I'm like, okay, see ya. Because I'm not going to compromise my ethics for my health. But I was compromising my health for my ethics for a long time. I didn't need to be that way. I just didn't know about food addiction. And now I eat the way nature intended, and I'm healthier, and I haven't had a weight problem for 10 years now after being obese for 50 years. So it's a great system.
Oh my gosh. It's so transformational. Can we talk about, and I never had a weight issue, but when you're talking about sugar and being a food addict, like I feel that so deep to my core. Like seriously, I look back at just even in my high school years, you're talking about, the Coke Slurpees. I was having a Mountain Dew Slurpee. I was drinking a Starbucks, like Trenti coconut Frappuccino with a Snickers bar for breakfast. And I felt horrible, but
that was delicious, by the way.
Oh my God. Like, yeah, right. Cinnabons, like all the things from like Burger King, and oh my God. Yeah, I didn't realize how bad I felt until how I understand how good I can feel. And I think a lot of people are living this day and age, Chef AJ, like just addicted and not even knowing it. So can you talk about like, what are your tips for food addicts right now? Where do you think it's really coming from the sugar mostly, or do you think it's coming from the flour? Is it a combination of that salt, oil, sugar, like the pleasure trap? Like, tell us more a little about that.
Well, yeah, the pleasure traps. What a fantastic concept that we've been introduced to by Dr. Lyle and Dr. Goldhammer in the book of the same name. I think everybody struggles with it. And the thing is some people genetically don't have weight problems, even eating the same crap that other people can try to eat in moderation. And so people think, oh, they must have such great willpower. No, it's genetics. If you expose enough people to this crap for long enough, they're probably going to have some issues. And while some people just won't get as overweight as obese, it's just not healthy food, but it's so readily available, easily affordable, socially acceptable. Like Dr. Frank Sabatino always says, food addiction is the only addiction you can just do out in public in front of everybody all the time. And it's considered normal,
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah. So true. Yeah. And I mean, life can change a lot when you just even take out animal products and the inflammatory dairy, which is where I started. My epiphany was when I was eating ice cream with out of the Breyers box, pouring coffee on top of it. And I was convincing myself, this is what the Italians do. So I was literally telling myself that. Cartons of ice cream in the morning. No, not so good. Okay. So what do you think about the concept of the population by 2030, half of it being obese?
Well, it's funny because I had Dr. McDougall on my show today, and he said that I think it's going to happen. Right now, only 25% of the population is of what would be considered a normal or healthy weight. So only 1 out of 4 people. And it's scary to think of the consequences of that, because, people they're getting these cards now that they can buy or just print online to their doctor saying, don't weigh me because you're shaming me. And I don't think people realize that there are consequences with having excess body weight that have nothing to do with how you look, but people don't want to hear the truth about that,
Yeah.
That it's linked to so many different cancers and it shortens life in so many different ways. And, I think we have to accept people and meet them as where they are and don't shame them or make them feel bad. But I don't think we can just say, hey, this is okay, because it's not.
Right. It's not. Okay. So I have a lot of different questions I want to ask you. So just forgive me if I kind of bump around, but okay. When did you start your YouTube channel? When with this whole journey, is that where you started influencing people? Did your life shift so much because you started feeling good, or was it at, wherever the places that you teach, where did it all start where you're influencing people?
Yeah, it wasn't like a calculated thing, because if I had known about YouTube sooner, I might have gotten into it sooner. I started my channel, I want to say 11 years ago now, but I wasn't I wouldn't consider myself an influencer or anything. I had this little kind of cooking show called The Chef and the Dietitian that I did with a plant-based dietitian named Juliana Hever. And I think we did 50 episodes, and maybe we did one a week or something like that. And then I think it was around I'm not so good with years, but it was a couple of years ago. It was when Facebook started doing something called Facebook Live, because we had Facebook, but we didn't always have the ability to go live. And I started going live because I'm better with numbers. That this week is 265 episodes of Weight Loss Wednesday. So if you do 265 weeks ago, whenever that was, maybe 5, maybe it might be maybe 5 years now, I started going live every Wednesday, Weight Loss Wednesday, 1 hour live show that was on Facebook that I would then put on YouTube. But it wasn't a YouTube show, it was the other way around, and people could ask questions. And then I got a little bit tired of answering the same question over and over again. So I started doing it pre-recorded, shorter version, and recipes. But I never would consider myself a YouTuber, because I considered myself a speaker and an author, and I was going all over the place to give lectures at conferences or cruise ships or spas, that kind of thing. But then the pandemic hit, and we call this the pandemic pivot, and it changed everything. And I'm not grateful that people got sick and died, of course, but I'm grateful for the opportunity it afforded me to stay home as an introverted homebody. When our governor said we had to shelter in place, it was March 20th, 2022. It was 2 days before my 60th birthday. So everything was canceled, all my parties and all that stuff. And so I went to go live because I have a private Facebook community, and I am not very good with technology. And I started using this new format. It's called Restream, and I could not figure out which button to push. And it ended up going live, not just in my private group, but on my regular Facebook page, my professional Facebook page, and YouTube. And there was something like 500 to 600 people watching. And people were really seeking a sense of community and connection at the beginning of the pandemic. People were scared. We didn't know how bad it was going to be or how long. And so I started going live every day just to check in with people. Hey, how you doing? But like, I couldn't just do it. I mean, I could have just done it myself, but I prefer talking to somebody. So I would, contact doctor friends of mine and say, hey, would you mind to come on? We'll just have a little chat. And then, so it was wonderful. And then I just started booking people and, people that I had like wanted to interview for the longest time that either I couldn't reach or they said no. Because of the pandemic, a lot of these big names, they had books coming out, but they couldn't do the normal book tour. So I was able to interview people that I've always wanted to, like Michael Moss, people of that caliber. And then people just, really delightful people like the widow of Jack LaLanne, Elaine LaLanne. And it just became such a fun thing that I look forward to every day. It's just kind of like having a chat with a friend in a way. And so then now I have people like Dr. McDougall who comes on every 2 weeks and Dr. Lyle who comes on every month. And it's been really fun.
It's incredible. It's so inspiring. When did you decide to write your first book?
When I decided, I just back to Dr. McDougall, the man who gave me my first break in the plant-based movement. So in 2009, this was the last year he did it in June. He used to host something called the Celebrity Chef Weekend, where he'd have a variety of chefs for a 3-day weekend doing cooking demos. And I was so honored to be there. And thankfully, I got to experience it because it was the last one. And so I got to do 2 cooking demos and there were several hundred people there and I didn't have a book. And even though, you get paid for appearing, the people with books, they would have these long lines and obviously, you're selling books, you're probably making money. I'm like, I'm not doing another thing like this unless I have a book. So that's when I decided to write a book. And it was funny because he had me back in February of 2011 for his advanced study weekend. And I was like, this book has got to come out by this. And a lot of people bought it. So that was the thing. So I never really wanted to be a writer per se. And it's funny because when I was 17, right before I went to the University of Pennsylvania, my mom had a friend who was a psychic and she had a reading. She goes, oh, you're not going to be a veterinarian. You're going to be a writer. And I'm like, you're crazy, Lucille. And I got really mad at her until a few years ago when I went to her funeral and said to her kids, I guess your mom actually had some powers after all.
Okay, so your sense of humor is hilarious. And where along this journey of your life, AJ, did you become a comedian? Because you were on late night with who?
Late night with David Letterman, Johnny Carson several times, Jay Leno. Well, I don't know if I actually became a comedian. I always was the class clown in school. So when you're not the pretty girl, you got a couple of choices. And so I was always really funny in school. I could go get any of my yearbooks from any year, class clown, that kind of thing. So I never really formally started studying comedy till much later. And I still like to keep my toe in it by taking improvisational classes and every now and then doing stand-up. But I think humor is without humor, there's just, especially in this day and age, it's so important. So, but I do love, if I had known, I would have tried sooner. I wouldn't have gone. I did not really want to be a veterinarian because it's not, I love animals, but really I did want to be, like a comedian. But in my family, being raised Jewish, you had a choice. You didn't have a choice of what to be, just what specialty in medicine, basically. And I knew I couldn't be a human doctor. So I figured I'll be an animal doctor, but that didn't work out. But yeah, I don't want to say I wish had my life to live over, but if I did, I wouldn't be so scared to take some of the chances that I didn't take. And I would have tried earlier to get into being like an improvisational comedian at the Groundlings or something. I'm trying now actually, but yeah, I think tell people to just don't put your dreams on the shelf. Just do not wait. That is my biggest advice to everybody. Do it now because that saying, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. I worked for years in retirement homes or volunteering to them. And I was what's called the activity director. And so I probably not only went to, but spoke at more funerals than anybody other than a rabbi. And I got to tell you that no matter what, people never regretted making mistakes in life. They, because I've talked to a lot of people on hospice in their deathbed. What they regretted is the chances they didn't take, like if, and they also regretted like when relationships, like family members, that they were estranged from that too. But with stuff is like, it's like, if you make a mistake, whatever, but people, if there ever was regret, is that they didn't do something they really wanted to do.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh. So it's so true. And speaking of that, when did you become a chef? Because you're impacting people.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't even know if I'm a chef. If you ask a real chef like Ramses Bravo or Eric Lechasseur, they would not consider me a chef, even though there's a word chef in my name. And I did go to culinary school, because I'm not a chefy chef. I eat so simply, and it's ridiculous. I will microwave frozen rice and microwave broccoli and say, this is delicious. But I did go to culinary school. And the reason I did that is because when I got out of the Optimum Health Institute, and I realized that if I was going to reverse this pre-colon cancer with diet, it would have to taste a little bit better than the food at Optimum Health Institute, which was basically some seed cheese made out of fermented sunflower seeds and sesame seeds and some raw vegetables. They had no sugar, oil, salt. There was nothing that tasted remotely good. And so that's what I went to culinary school, just because I'm like, if I'm going to eat healthy, it's got to taste better. Mm-hmm. And so it wasn't like a burning desire to be a chef, but culinary school is really fun, by the way. I mean, if you like to cook, because you learn stuff and it's very creative. And so I did enjoy that aspect of it, but I never intended to be a chef. But since I went to culinary school, I figured, well, maybe I'll do something with this. So I did work in a restaurant for several years as the executive vegan pastry chef at Santé Restaurant. And that was fun to get that experience. But again, not a great job for a food addict making desserts all day.
Yeah. Yeah. So did that help you kind of figure out like, hey, look, I can make those fancy recipes. Like maybe I could switch this out for date sugar. I mean, like your experience has really helped you.
Yeah, no. So that's the thing. And that's how, I wrote a book called A Date with Dessert, and it's going to be a bigger book. This has like, I think 35 recipes. I've got one coming out with like 150, because I think it will help people, because not everybody is going to go completely sugar-free overnight or forever. But if I can make something taste as good, like my German chocolate cake using dates, I'm going to teach people how to do that, because I still think it is better than eating processed white sugar. So yeah, and I have a spectrum of desserts from very low-fat desserts to very high-fat desserts, all vegan, all SOS free. So yeah, that's, I seem to have a knack for it.
Eating nothing but sugar for 43 years will really do that for you, really help you figure out that, you can make other things and still taste really, really good, right? With whole food ingredients.
And it's interesting because I really don't eat my desserts anymore. They're too sweet for me now. I mean, I will eat like a muffin that I make maybe out of banana and oats, but even the dates are so sweet. I mean, anything when I say a person could do with sugar, I can figure out how to do with dates, because dates are very, very sweet.
Oh,
they taste so like candy.
Sweet. Yeah. It was over a decade ago when I first discovered a plant-based diet. There was next to nothing to read and learn from. In fact, I got my hands on a book called The Kind Diet from Alicia Silverstone, and then I watched a documentary with Avril Lavigne in it called Fast Food Nation, and everything changed in my life. But I still felt so confused. I was lost and discouraged, and I had no idea other than those resources on where to start. I just wanted to feel better. I was tired of over-exercising and minimizing what was on my plate and feeling like I could only eat a small amount of food to feel well and to reach my ideal weight. But how I wish I had had something like this that I'm going to tell you about right now. A whole bundle of brilliant content from people who have already done the trial and error and want to teach how it can be done properly and sustainably. The Ultimate Weight Loss Bundle is here for you to give you the tools you need to lose weight healthfully, without extremes, without diet shakes, without all of the supplements, in a natural way. This is part of holistic living and what I teach you every day. We have to find a balanced approach to eating well so that we can have long-term success and feel well while we impact the people who we know we are created to impact, right? So guess what? The Ultimate Weight Loss Bundle is here for you to give you the tools, again, that you need. It ends on March 2nd. You only have until March 2nd to get this. Only a handful of hours are left in this entire bundle. We really don't have much time. So make sure that you click the link, show notes, and get your hands on this bundle that has over $4,600 worth of content for only $49 and well over 1,000 recipes so that you'll always have ideas. And did I tell you, there's a ton of doctors in this bundle. So you're getting good, sound advice, and it's not just another diet fad, okay? This is very sustainable weight loss and weight maintenance and just feeling better in your body. We've even got things like exercise and mindset work and organizational tips and tricks in this bundle. So again, click the link before this episode even ends and make sure that you get your hands on the ultimate weight loss bundle. I know that you're going to find so much value, and this is going to kickstart you into a better way of living today. All right, back to the show. And just speaking of food, have you ever had Canistel?
I don't know what that is.
I really wish that I could get you a Canistel in time before it goes bad. We'll see if we can overnight it to you. You tried a meme sapote. I know that somebody sent you one, right?
Yeah, no, I found one at the Sprouts. Robbie Barbero was talking about it, and they had it at Sprouts. Part of it was spoiled, but the part that wasn't, it kind of tasted like a sweet potato pudding.
Sweet potato, right?
Yeah, like a sweet potato mousse or something. Yeah, it was really amazing.
Imagine that same family. I literally just got an entire box from Miami Fruit of it because it's very, very short time frame in the year that you get these. But it's the same family as meme sapote, but it's yellow and it looks exactly like an egg yolk, which could be good or bad for some people, and tastes like custard. And you think that meme is sweet or dates are sweet. This is like eating cake. It's insane. And you need to try it. It's also called egg fruit. Or golden meme. But I was curious if you had tried that because I feel like you've tried so many different fruits.
I've never even heard of it. It sounds amazing.
It's pretty unreal. Okay. We're going to need to get you some Canistel for sure. Okay. Other food questions that I really wanted to make sure that I asked you. What's your current favorite meal, Chef AJ? Because you and I are super alike where we could literally just eat. Our whole family just eats heads of broccoli out of the Instant Pot for fun with sweet potatoes.
I think about this a lot. My favorite meal I would say my favorite meal is the one that I eat when I'm hungry because it's so funny because I used to eat just without any clue as to whether or not I was hungry because I was eating compulsively and addictively. And now when I'm truly hungry, whatever I eat tastes good. But my favorite meal is probably lunch because lunch is the first meal I eat every day because I'm in the morning, I'm busy, I'm exercising, I'm doing my show. So I don't get hungry till about 12 or 1 o'clock. And I have a big chopped salad that my husband makes in the Holland bowl mill with 2 kinds of cabbage, purple and green, and carrots, and all kinds of different greens that, you get the power greens from Costco. And he chops it really finely, which I love. And so I'll have a big salad. I don't know, it's 4 cups, probably close to a pound. And I like to put in just a little bit of rice because it gives it that toothsome kind of quality. And I've got a new dressing that I love right now, a ranch dressing. But even before that, it was lemon poppy seed or California balsamic vinegar. So I've got this huge salad and then I'm having some sweet potatoes with it. It varies. Sometimes it's Hana yam, sometimes it's Japanese, sometimes it's Stokes. I just switch it up, but I roast them and then I air fry them. And it's like sweet potato toast. It's like marshmallows. And it's just, and I use the sweet potato instead of a fork. So I use it as my fork. And it's I know it's so weird, but I'm so happy. Lunch is such a great meal. Well, I never, and it's been 10 years and I'm not tired of it because it's delicious. So, or just plain old Hana yams with broccoli. So that's my favorite meal because it must be because I eat it every day and I'm not tired of it, honestly.
I know that you like eating tostadas, right? That's kind of part of your...
Yeah, that's probably my favorite dinner because we eat that every third night.
Do you ever make your tortillas homemade?
I do. Well, I know how, but I don't usually make the tortillas homemade, but I do usually buy the tortillas, the healthy ones that have nothing in them but corn or corn and lime. And I'll toast them myself to make my own chips so that I don't have to eat the ones with salt that my husband eats. But I will. I mean, I'm not that much of a I'm not that perfect, but I did take a class in tortilla making, but I don't usually do that because it's labor intensive.
I just buy the like whole, well, I've ground my own flour before, and I've actually like made hominy with like the like I fermented it, whatever. It was a whole process, but I wanted to make my own hominy I dried out the corn, ground it up, and made tortillas, but they were the most epic tortillas ever. And homemade are just like so good. It's so easy. It's just corn and water, and you put it together and you smush it together. Okay. I was curious what that favorite meal is. So
I've done raw ones. I've made homemade raw ones, out of corn where you blend it and then you put it in the dehydrator. So that I've done.
I don't use my dehydrator nearly enough. Speaking of kitchen appliances, this is another question that is just burning, and I have to ask you this. Okay. Aside from a high-speed blender and your normal, like whatever, microwave, stove, oven, Chef AJ, what is your like must-have? Your must-have appliance?
Yeah, it's an Instant Pot and air fryer are my top two, even more so than a blender.
Mm-hmm. And can you tell me about the food processor that you have been using, because we're going to need to put that in the show notes.
Yeah, I do like the Nutrimilk because I don't always use it in demos because I don't want people to feel bad because not everybody's going to get it, but it's so much more powerful than even my Cuisinart. So like when I'm making a pie crust or something, instead of taking like 5 minutes going around, it takes like a minute and a half. And the funny thing is the Nutrimilk is supposed to be making plant milk, which it does. But then when they said you could use it as a food processor, I'm like, wow, this is better. What's cool about it is that it's got this like claw thing in it. It goes round and round so that you don't have to stop and scrape and stop and scrape. So I do like that feature about it.
My Cuisinart, like I dropped, so the container has, cracked, and I'm pretty much going to bite the bullet and get it. So we're going to need your link for that. And everybody needs to get this really cool machine because it's like so multi-purpose. And I agree with you. I think the Instant Pot has changed my life completely, 100%. I don't know what life was before that. Trying to convince every client of mine to get an Instant Pot because it just makes things go faster. Okay, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about your summits that you do. How often are you doing summits, Chef AJ, and what are they about?
Right. So right now, twice a year, once on weight loss, it's called The Truth About Weight Loss. And the second is GI health. So we've done, this year will be the fourth on weight loss and the second on GI health.
Okay. And when did you start doing these and why?
Yeah. So it was so funny because I was thank you, Toby, from Better Life Summits, because he actually asked me to do that. So it was 2018. And this gentleman named Toby Vijhoven, who is part of Better Life Summits, did a summit called the Plant Fit Summit. And he had wonderful speakers on it, like Dr. Furman and Dr. Goldhammer. And I remember reaching out to him, might have been 2017 on Facebook saying, oh, I'd love to be on your summit. And he had me as a speaker. And then in 2018, he contacted me and he said, I want to, something about weight loss. And I'm like, I thought he just wanted to interview me. He goes, no, I want to do a summit and I want you to host it. And I was like, wow. Cause I had always wanted to do this. And I actually had even it written out and who all the speakers were going to be, but I couldn't figure out how to do the part that he does, which is like the really hard part. Like, I'd have the fun part. I interview people, all the bells and whistles of how summits work. It's kind of intricate because, we're delivering this live all over the world. When it airs live. And so, that's how it started. We did the first one in 2019, then we did 2020. So this year will be the fourth year. And it's really fun. It takes like a long time to get all these people and interview them because doctors are notorious for canceling on you because they're doctors and they got to work. And so like 5 minutes before, oh, sorry, Dr. So-and-so can't make it. And I'm like, oh, great, thanks. But it's a lot of fun. And the GI health one was really above my pay grade because that one, weight loss, at least I can have a conversation. It's something I experienced, but GI health, when they start getting all technical, it's like, whoa, I don't know if I can have this conversation.
Your questions are always
smarty fans.
Incredible.
but it is fun, and people do enjoy them. So until people don't enjoy them, I'll keep doing them, because I especially love when they do PowerPoints. Not every doctor wants to do it, but I love it, because then I could just be looking there and then like taking notes and thinking of questions to ask them. So, but now that I've done close to, almost 900 episodes of Chef AJ Live, I'm pretty good at not having dead airspace. So if I'm interviewing somebody that does, and I'm good at like trying to figure out something to say during that time. And I do try to prepare. I mean, if the person I'm interviewing does have a book, I always read it before the interview, or just, I search like on podcast or YouTube just to try to get to know them a little bit before I'm meeting them on the show.
Right. Yeah. You do a tremendous job at that. You always have the best questions and are really digging into what's important with whatever guest you have. It's so inspiring, and I will be on YouTube, and I've got to start somewhere. So you have been we're already on there, but we need to grow really, really big. So, okay. Chef AJ, let's talk a little bit about this bundle and like entrepreneurship. So we've got a bundle. Like, where did you hear about your first bundle?
Yeah, so it's funny, just like with summits, I sometimes feel like I'm always late to the party, because I have these ideas. They may be somebody else's ideas, but I try to fit them into my niche, but I never know how to do the back end or the tech part, without which it doesn't happen. So I would say I've been involved with bundles, I want to say at least since 2015, 2016. And the one that I was involved with every year was from Matt Frazier, No Meat Athlete. He would do this tremendous bundle. I believe it was Black Friday. It would only be available for a few days. And he would have, people contribute these things, and you would get thousands and thousands of dollars worth of products for, I believe his bundle sold for $97. And, and they seem to do very well for everyone, because people like a good deal, whether it's Black Friday or not. And so we did that for many years, and he didn't do it this year for some reason, or last year. But then what was really interesting is I was asked last year by this lovely man who's a raw foodist named Chris Kendall to be part of his raw food bundle. And I said, I think you have the wrong person. I'm not raw. My audience is not raw, and I have nothing to give you, because all the raw recipes I have are high fat, and I know you're low fat. And he's like, well, please. And like, I kept saying no. And this is the other thing, just say yes to everything. I mean, not anything dangerous, but he just kept saying, well, come on, can you give us something? And I'm like, no, I don't have anything. I don't have time to write an ebook. I said, but we did produce 19 conferences. So we have some exclusive video that we haven't, that's not out there anywhere. So and it was fine. He was aligned with it. And I just couldn't believe how they were so interested, because even people that are not raw can still benefit from eating raw food, because it was so beautifully done, the bundle. Because in this particular bundle, people were creating content just for the bundle. So these could be people, they could have big lists or small lists, or be influencers or people you might not have heard of, but they really created, when I got it, because when you contribute to a bundle, you get the bundle for free. And the bundle wasn't that expensive. It was $49 for like, $4,000 worth of stuff bought separately. And, like over 100 pieces of content, books or courses. And there was like a course in there that was like $2,000. I'm like, this can't be. And I took it. It was Ted Carr's business course. And I'm like, I could see why people can't resist bundles. And I remember looking at the books, and I'm like, there was a book by Lissa from Raw Food Romance that it was like $80 on Amazon, but here it was the ebook. And I'm like, this is a beautiful book. So it just, they're an incredible value. And again, like when you're paying that, even if, Louise Hay used to say, even if you only get 2 sentences out of something, it's worth it. And my feeling is like, people don't complain about bundles. Like they're not trying to return them because, like they are other products, because how can you complain about 100 different courses and ebooks? Yeah, I mean, that's not possible. Right. And so we did it. And then 6 months later, they asked me to do it again. I'm like, come on, no. And I can't, and he's like, please. And so and people still were interested, because one of the things that they did differently than a lot of other bundles is they only would take new material for each bundle. Like, you could go to different bundles with the same thing. And so I started thinking that, if my audience is that interested in something that's not something they really think about, maybe they do. I mean, people do want to try to include more raw food. I said, what if I could create a bundle that was a niche bundle that was something that I'm really passionate about, which is not just veganism and whole food, plant-based eating, but something that's more weight loss friendly towards the beginning of the year that's low in fat, that's oil free. And I didn't expect that all these people would be wanting to join. I would have been happy. I thought it would, be kind of like a small thing, a niche thing, but it was like one of those things like that shampoo commercial and so on and so on. People kept telling their friends and people wanted to join. And I was just floored that even doctors, like the medical doctors were like, thought it was a good idea too. And so just to have people like, I don't want to forget anybody, but like have Dr. McDougall and Dr. Furman and Dr. Esser and Dr. Nikki Davis and Dr. Lori Marbus and Dr. Vivian Chen and who else, just, it was amazing that to have, this kind of people, Dr. Rick and Karen Dina, Dr. Sunil Pai, Dr. Janie Goddard, Dr. Frank Sabatino, Dr. Robbie Barbera, Dr. Cyrus Kambata, all these people, Dr. Vanessa Mendez, Dr. Stephanie Peacock, Dr. Chilla Varesh, and it goes on. And plus other people too, that were like extraordinary chefs, like James Sant, who like created a course for this that never was released. And when people see this, it's like, well, how can you not buy this? I would do this just to get his course, or Kelly Williamson, who's like, her product is like a $300 product. And the thing is, this thing about bundles is they're only available for a short period of time and then they're gone and they're never coming back. I mean, bundles do come back, but never that,
right,
you know what I mean? It's never going to be that same group of contributor. Oh, Dr. Jessica Krant, I forgot she's in the bundle. Plus, I mean, just really extraordinary chefs and fun courses. I mean, I was looking at some of this material.
Andrew Mullen.
Oh yeah. Andrew Mellon, because it's funny because Dr. Lyle had said something in one of our private classes about how God, I've got to get this quote right, but it was something about you can't have behavioral change in an unclean environment. And he didn't mean just unclean with junk food, but like when your house is a mess, it's, because it's cluttered, it's really hard to affect other behavioral change. And so Andrew Mellon's got this amazing course on decluttering. I think he contributed a video to this one. And then what's really cool is Ginger Burr. She is awesome. And she created like dressing for like every weight and every look. And that's what she does, but she created a course just for this. So it's going to be very amazing. Cool. And, I think about Jeff Nelson from VegSource. He contributed like so many videos that he sells that people don't get on YouTube from conferences that he had that I attended. Like, oh, this is going to be cool. I get to, but I mean, I think it would take like a year for everybody to go through this bundle, really. Yeah. I mean, which is why we're probably only going to do it once a year instead of twice. So we want to give people time to really do it. And I think they're going to enjoy it.
So amazing. And like so many people who have been on this podcast are in this bundle, you guys. And like Chris, he's actually airing tomorrow. I've been following him for like 6 years. I went raw because of him when I figured out that I had thyroid issues. Like he is a magnificent human being and he has an ebook in this. And I have Andrew. I'm going to be interviewing him, about organization. And it's so true. And I actually teach my clients that, Chef AJ, about like, if they want to make change, like whether it's in their business or in their healthy habits, like their entire environment needs to be super conducive to that. And I can't wait to learn more from Andrew. So this bundle is going to be so incredible. Okay. So one of my questions was, who are some of your favorites? But you already rattled off so many amazing people. Okay. This is just all kind of part of your entrepreneurship as you've grown. AJ, can you give our audience some tips on, how to balance growth? Because I feel like you've been doing that over these last 2 years, that you've like really, really kind of, in my eyes, you've blown up. Okay. I don't know how you feel. Have you felt overwhelmed at any point?
Well, I think when you're in the middle of the storm, well, thank you for saying that, Stacey. When you're in the middle of the storm, you don't necessarily see your success because you're just focused on doing the work. But, when you talked about the people in the bundle, and I got to say, as I look at this list, almost everybody in the bundle, I would consider a friend, not just a colleague. And part of the beauty about doing this show is I knew all these people, like I knew their work, and most of them were in my cell phone, meaning like I could text them because I'm terrible on email, as you know, because I forgot some things. Yeah, no, I'm pretty good at texting people. And, when I was saying, as far as balancing, one of the things is I don't have kids, so I can say this is a little easier because when people have little kids, obviously you've got to take care of your kids. if they're still at home, but I do take care of myself first. And that is the biggest thing that has made the difference, because I always think about how when you go on an airplane, they say an oxygen mask will drop. And if you have a child, you got to first breathe yourself, right? And the thing is if I don't take care of my needs, like, and when I say my needs, I mean doing what I need to do to take care of self-care, then I can't do anything. So, some people might think it's a little selfish. Well, gosh, I don't do anything really before 10 or 11 in the morning because I want to walk my dog Bailey. It's like a priority to me to spend that time with her. She's only going to be on this earth for a certain amount of time, and I don't want to miss a walk with her because she loves it and I love that time. And I wish I could pay somebody to exercise for me. That would be my dream. If I could pay somebody to get up in the middle of the night and pee for me and exercise for me, but still get the benefits of it. Because that 1 hour that I spend on the spin bike, I don't hate it, but I don't love it, but I do it. I wish I could just not sweat, because then I got to go fix my hair and all that kind of stuff. But the thing is, those things are really important, and getting to bed on time. See, people think it's like I will leave. Well, I haven't been doing anything with the pandemic, but I mean, I go to bed at 9 o'clock. And I got to be asleep by 10. And it doesn't matter what I'm doing. A friend invited me to Chris Rock. He's going to be 6 miles from me. And I love him. But the show starts at 9 o'clock. And I had to run this cost benefit analysis saying, I'm not going to be able to stay awake, and I'll fall asleep at the thing. And it's not, so things like that. Sometimes it's a trade-off, but I prioritize all the things that Dr. Goldhammer says: diet, sleep, and exercise. And then if you have enough time, go to work.
Oh, I love it. Oh, so important. I love that. That is how it should be. I think that so many entrepreneurs, which you definitely are, I think that they put business first, or they think that that health and wealth can't go hand in hand, and they 100% can. And I think the key is what you just said. You have to prioritize yourself. You have to prioritize your health first. The wealth will come. And if you don't do that, the wealth will come and you won't have your health, and it's going to suck having money or wanting to travel or do whatever you want to do with your big, with your impact. If you're not taking care of yourself, we have to prioritize that. I love that. Okay. So speaking of traveling, random question I had for you, Chef AJ, if you could travel anywhere, where would you go? I know. It's random.
I don't like to travel because I don't like to leave my dog.
Well, if Bailey could come,
oh, then Hawaii. I've never seen Europe or anything, and I know it's probably awesome, but I've been to Hawaii and it's always awesome. And there's just, I'd live there if I could. So I'm going to pick Hawaii, and I don't even care what island. I just think it's a great state.
Yeah. Kauai is the only place I've been, and it's magnificent. And I could probably just be happy not traveling anywhere else other than that. Okay. AJ, is there anything that you want to make sure that people know, aside from that they have to get this bundle?
Well, they have to get
this bundle because it's going to be potentially life-changing for them. But
I mean, Sarah Levite created a course about, emotional eating. I mean, I think there's something for everybody in this bundle. The vegan gym people created fitness. I mean, there's something for everybody, and there really is. And even if somebody, we called it the ultimate weight loss bundle, but the truth is even if you didn't need to lose weight, there's a meal planner tool from Shoshana Chime. There's enough in there that it's going to make everybody happy. Yeah. And the thing is even if you don't need to lose weight, these are great recipes, right? You're still going to want to eat these recipes, I would think.
Yeah, sure. But in addition to that, we have this amazing bundle out right now, only for a limited amount of time. What message would you want for people to walk away with? What do you want to share with the world the most? I mean, I know you have your show. I know you have your summits. I know you have your program for, fit over 40, a fit fabulous.
Well, be kind to animals. The first thing that came to mind is be kind to animals. And, when you're eating them, it's not kind.
Yeah.
When you're using cosmetics that cause them suffering, it's not kind, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's my message. Be kind to animals.
I love it. Okay. And then the last question that I ask everybody, AJ, is what does holistic living mean to you?
Well, no, I would say just living is it's very hard to live a natural life anymore. I mean, think about it, airplanes, cars, these, I guess maybe doing as little harm as possible to the planet and your body while you're trucking on through this life,
Yes.
making the best choices you can for your health and, being as natural as possible. I mean, look, I'm not perfect. Look, I get manicures, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, I try to live a conscious life, maybe. That's how I say.
That's good. That's good. Okay. With that, we are done. We're going to put all of your stuff in the show notes, AJ. We need to catch the summit the summit's going to be past, but the bundles here, you're going to have another summit for microbiome, for gut health. When is that happening in 2022? At the end of the year?
I don't have the dates of that one. It happened in October last year, so I'm going to guess around fall.
Okay, great. Well, everybody needs to tune into it because it's absolutely incredible. My friend, thank you so much for your time, and let's kick this bundle's booty.
Thanks, Stacy.
Oh my gosh, I just love her story, don't you? It's so inspirational to hear from other people who have transitioned to a whole food, plant-based way of eating, whether it's raw or not, or whether they're eating grains or not, or whether they're eating pasta or not, or whether they're sprouting foods or not. There is an approachable way for you to live this lifestyle today. And I want to make sure that you know that you can get 105 plus vegan ebooks, e-courses, and cooking classes, including even exercise classes and organizational tactics to help you focus on long-term sustainable weight loss so that you can live your best life and really rise up to your ultimate vision and step into your purpose that God created you for. Learn from some of the top plant-based doctors, cook right alongside with many plant-based chefs, enjoy time-sensitive live presentations, countless recipes to help you lose weight and choose healthy options, completely oil-free recipes. You can detox your home, you can work out, and you can have fitness classes all right at your fingertips and instantly unlock all of this awesomeness. It's over $4,600 worth of content, and we have so many doctors as part of this bundle as well. So you know that the stuff that you're getting is credible and sound. But right now, you can only get it until March 2nd, 2022. So make sure that you spend the $49 on yourself, invest in your health, and start changing your life today. Make sure you click down in the show notes below and enjoy the Ultimate Weight Loss Bundle. Be well.